Hello, everybody.
Hey.
All right, so welcome to the Mikestand, everybody. Today is Monday, August the 5th, 2024. Um, as always, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. Um, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. That'd be very appreciated. And see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, anyways, before I do talk about what's on tap for tonight, Rick, how did your day go today?
Not too bad. Watched some YouTube. Went out to a small mart. Did some drawing on my computer. Um, Stuff that I'm going to show off tomorrow on my show. Um, Hopefully, people like what I'm doing. These drawings, and I might even do some of it tomorrow night on the show too. Um, just doing a whole bunch of different things. But overall, my day's been good.
All right, and before I talk about what's on tap for tonight, Rick, would you like to do a bit of an intro? You know the shtick, right?
Yeah, I should by now, right? It's been a
Right.
it's been a it's been a little bit. So let me. I'm gonna get um, a link to my channel, and I'm gonna put that link in the chat. So if people here that don't know who I am want to go check out my channel, see what it's all about, which is about my comic book universe and myself. And yeah, and watch it. If you like what you see, subscribe. All that sort of stuff.
All right.
You know,
Here's his link. If you guys want to go check that out. All right. Anything more you'd like to say, Rick, before
uh,
we continue on?
nothing I can think of at the moment. So probably best to
All
get
right.
on with the show. This is it. No more rehearsing. We don't know our parts by heart.
Doing the old Bugs Bunny and Friends theme, huh?
Yeah, with a little twist at the
Yeah.
end there.
All right. So here's what's on tap tonight. We're gonna do things a little different tonight. We're actually not gonna go over any articles tonight. What we're gonna do is, even though I may not have covered it as much. I'm gonna go back a couple weeks to an interview that Vic Mignogna did with Alex Stein on the Blaze. This is an interview just done a couple weeks after YouTuber Nick Rekieta's arrest, and of course, as everybody knows, the two of them are considered pretty, or a lot of people think the two of them are pretty close. They're acquaintances, friends. And everybody, of course, is wanting a soundbite from Vic as to what was, what was all going down. So we're gonna, and Alex did get some of that. There's a couple of things that Vic said in that interview that I think everybody should hear. A couple of points he made, um, I thought were real good points, and I think it's stuff we can talk about here a little bit. Here on the mic. Granted, this may not be exact. Even though the only connection to what we normally cover is the fact that Vic is a dub voice actor, and that's the only real. And usually we don't cover a whole lot of serious stuff here, but as I said, there's some things here that he said in the There's a couple of points he made in the interview that I thought were real pertinent points. I think everybody should hear. So
Yeah.
without any further ado, I'm going to pull that up now, and we will go ahead and I will go ahead and get ready to pull that up here. And here I'll even for the moment here, so we can watch, and then we can. Let's see. Well,
it's a
actually,
7 minute.
I'll just keep it minimized to where we can also see our lovely faces as well. So
we didn't talk about this before, but
all right. So here's the interview. So let me get that up there. So I'm gonna go. So we're gonna watch portions of the interview. I may stop it here. This portion of the interview is 7:40. Oh wait,
Just
actually,
under 8
hold on.
minutes.
Hold on. I gotta go back here a moment because I don't think this is actually the one that I. That was a 7 minute one. It's a 9 minute one. I actually wanted to. Yeah, it was that one because that's where he made one. So this.
I wrote something down.
Like this is actually the one that I wanted people to see because what he said at the beginning here. So, anyways, let's see now. Okay, so we'll.
I wrote something down in because I wanted to remember to bring it up, and I said it to you before we came on.
Let me just.
We live in a free society, right? A free society.
Let me read.
I wrote something down in because I wanted to remember to bring it up, and I said it to you before we came on. We live in a free society, right? A free society.
keep talking.
Okay, I challenge all of you to take me seriously while he's sticking his head in eating ice cream.
Keep on, Bill.
Okay, maybe you'll take me more seriously if I eat ice cream.
Yeah, have a hat.
Yeah, even I find that part annoying, but this is the first part, and he was really, and Vic, what he says here about freedom and morality here is, I think, real poignant. It kind of goes back to something I say a lot too. But anyways, I'll continue the video here.
Good. My head hurts, yo.
Brain freeze.
Everyone runs around, I'm free to do this, and it's my right to do this, and I got freedom, I'm free to do this. Well, a free society can never, ever be sustained if people are not personally moral. If an individual doesn't have any foundational sense of right or wrong or morals or his neighbor, fellow people around him. A perfect example is like gun laws. If all of us in this studio are law-abiding citizens and we're conscientious of our fellow man and we're not hateful, we're not vengeful, we're not self-absorbed, why would we be afraid if everyone had a weapon to protect themselves? It's the fact that there are people out there that abuse their freedoms and do all kinds of horrific things under the guise of, well, I got my rights and I'm free to do this, I'm free to do that. Well, you may not be free for very long because I really believe in my heart that a free country cannot continue if there are so many citizens that abuse that freedom.
We didn't talk.
All right.
Depends on what you mean by
that was
abuse.
the first big point. That's the first big point that he made. That there's another one that comes up a little bit later here as they get into the whole thing with about Nick. But any thoughts on what he said right there in terms of about?
In some ways, I agree, but at the same time, it depends on what he means by abuse too, because what you or me might mean by abuse, and I'm not sure what side Vic goes on. I think he'd be more to the right with stuff that's happened to him.
Yeah, he's more conservative.
But what what the left would say abusing stuff means is a lot different.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, and you probably heard me, and I know you probably have heard me talk about this before, right? You may heard me make this statement, and it's even biblically based. Because I think there's, I may not know the exact numbers and all that, but I think it's in Romans. But you've heard me. I'm sure you've heard me make the statement before about the idea is in our own human reasoning, right? We can justify any behavior,
Yeah,
good, bad, or indifferent, right?
for sure.
I think in what Vic said there, he's kind of pointing that out, right? Because people, as I said, people can just any behavior. Vic was giving a perfect example right there. I'm free to do this. I'm free to do that. It's like, but if you're abusing your freedom, then you aren't going to be free for long because you break the law. Like
Yeah.
if
We're a free society, but we also have laws.
Look, if we just went carte blanche freedom, where we just said, well, we're free to do anything, it ended up being survival of the fittest.
Yeah,
Okay?
It ends up being anarchy.
Yeah. And you can't have absolute total freedom because that's where it would lead to. Okay?
Especially in our
Vic is saying there,
world.
What was that?
Especially in our world.
Especially in our world and right now, the way it's going right now. Yeah. But
I just mean in the world in general because, disagreements, anarchy, chaos, all that. There's, unfortunately, not everybody is as moral as the other person, as to use Vic's word, and even some people that are moral use it their freedom in a wrong way too, or what we would might consider a wrong way. They don't. It's
very
hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is he talked about you can't really have true freedom without a strong moral compass, because as I pointed out, in our own human reasoning, we could justify any behavior, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think that's what Vic is talking about here when he made that statement. And he gave some examples there, like in a free society, everybody should be able to, if our Second Amendment right is that we have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
Hold on before you interject. I know you're going to interject.
Yeah.
Let me finish the statement there, because in a society, we may have the right, but we have the right to bear arms to protect ourselves, our families, our property. Okay, just because we have that right, and even though I've also often said that if absolutely necessary, we have a right to use those guns as well to overthrow if we think that our government's going too far. Okay, you can't just, that right to bear arms does not give you the right to just willy-nilly go out and murder somebody just because you had a heated argument.
Yeah, because there's laws against that.
Yeah. So
and there should be.
That, and as Vic said in that, there should be no problem with everybody having a gun if they are responsible and they're not hateful or resentful.
Yeah,
I mean, in a way, it's probably better too, because it is in a way a check. Because if let's say somebody is, I guess foolish enough to want to try to use a gun to go after somebody, well, they've got a gun as well, and they could defend themselves.
Yeah, and you're less likely to go after somebody that might have a gun, right? Because they might shoot you. You don't want to get shot unless you're, quote unquote, suicidal.
Yeah, exactly. So
unless you don't care whether you die, you might not be suicidal, but you might not care at the same time. As long as you get your chance, per se.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're in that mindset, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the first point he made that I wanted to kind of go over, because I really thought that was a very good point there.
Yeah.
The main point I think he was trying to communicate there was you can't have true freedom without having a strong moral sense there. Because as I've said before, and as as we alluded to, I think it's somewhere even says somewhere in Romans. I don't know the exact scripture. You probably would know the exact scripture better than I would, but we could very easily justify any and all behaviors within our own human reason. With our own human reason, we could justify any behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. Right. So that was one of the points I wanted to talk a little bit about there with that statement that he made about freedom and more responsibility, because I thought it was a pretty poignant thing.
Yeah.
I hope that if even if we don't have anybody watching live now, aside from you and me, somebody does come back and watch this and listen to what we're talking about here, something might click on, things might click on for people, and they might somewhat get it. All right, we're gonna move along with the interview here. We're gonna listen to the rest of it, because there's one other point he made in here that kind of goes a little bit more directly to what we've been dealing with of late.
Yeah.
On here. And something I even kind of alluded to, but now Vic here is responding to, basically Alex is trying to get him to, he's trying to get a soundbite from Vic on Nick Rekida's situation.
Yeah.
And Vic gives a statement here, and there's something in there that pointed particularly for the situations we've been dealing with here the last few weeks here, on my channel here. All right. So, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Talk about this before, but everything you spoke about right there, freedom, guns. I have to get a sound bite, and I know you're going to give a professional answer. Your very good friend has gotten in a lot of trouble. Nick Rekieta got arrested with guns. Got arrested, and I'm on Nick's side in a lot of this. I think Nick's a good guy. Everybody's been wanting your statement on the Nick thing, and we don't have to elaborate. We don't have to spend the whole show on it. But I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts, Vic? Because what you just said, freedom, guns, this is what he's going through. And I know he's your friend. I know, and this is my thing. A lot of people on the internet are like, you should throw Nick under the bus, but a real friend stays with you when you're going through tough times.
Well, but a real friend doesn't condone bad behavior either.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what Vic said right there?
Yeah. Real friend doesn't condone bad behavior.
Alex, and they're both right there. Yeah, as a friend, you should stick by your friend.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean you have to condone bad behavior.
As a song I listened to a long time ago, and I still do, by a band called Super Chick. I forget what the song title was called. But there's a lyric in it: "True friends stab you in the face."
Point taken.
And basically meaning they're not going to go behind your back or whatever and say stuff. Well, they might say that stuff, but whatever they say out of your earshot, they'll say to your face as well, and let you know where you stand, or let you know when they think you're out of line or whatever.
But again, similar to what I was talking about with the whole, when like Elk made the whole Harvey Weinstein comment about, when we're talking about the idea of biting the hand that feeds you and being grateful, but still calling, even if you're grateful, you still can call them out for bad behavior. Just because you're grateful doesn't mean you have to, as Vic even put it right there, that you have to condone bad behavior.
Yeah, just because you're grateful for, a chance he might have given you, you can be grateful for a chance that, somebody gave you to do something. But if they're, being an a-hole, you can say, hey, I'm grateful for what you did to me, but yeah, you're being an a-hole in this way, this other way. I'm just
doing something here real quick, and then I'll go back to the. You probably can see in the chat what I'm doing. Just trying to get they're trying to get them to notice there's more than just one person in here watching. So all right. So anyways, let's get back to this.
Oh, here's all I want to say about that.
We have to get a soundbite from you because everybody wants to know.
Well, yeah. When that picture was taken, I had no knowledge of anything that was going on in his private life at his home.
And this is at Anime Matsuri, where
that
you're
was
going.
Actually, honestly, that was like 4 years ago.
And you're going back to Anime Matsuri in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's the
I'm
biggest.
looking very forward to it. Next to Anime Expo, it's the biggest. It's the second largest anime convention in the country, over 60,000.
That's how you became friends with Nick, right? Because you go to this.
No. In fact, Anime Matsuri invited Nick to come to Matsuri precisely because of his support for me.
Yeah.
Right. And for those who may watch this later, what they're talking about there was when the voice acting community kind of turned on Vic and tried to basically get him blackballed from the industry by claiming that he was, basically a predator, a creep, this, that, and the next thing. He went sued Monica Rial, Ron Toy, Jamie Markey, and Funimation, lost in court, which a lot of people still to this day feel was a serious miscarriage of justice. But Vic is still doing fine, though. He's still, as you can tell, he's still living his life. He may not, he's still getting jobs, just not with the same group of people. I think he partnered up, I think, with Anime Matsuri to somewhat start their own dubbing company. They make bids on projects to do with him and those who will work with him, basically. So just giving an update on that situation for everybody. But anyway, we'll continue on. We're looking at the interview here. As soon as I can find my cursor, of course, and click on everything.
Oh wow!
Because he had built a big audience in his support of me and following the events that were going on.
In a way, you could say that he made his audience off your back.
I'm not going to go
He's
there.
a talented guy. I'm just saying you helped give him a little bit.
Here's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay,
I had no idea, and I was very, very disheartened and saddened to hear about those events. And I'm praying for him. I want.
Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, Rick, but Vic is a Christian. And he is a very good witness for his faith. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why they were trying to blackball him, because while they were all going left, he's going right. He was a full on Trump supporter. He's conservative. He's a Christian. That's why they were trying to blackball him. Because he didn't fit the model. But
But what I was going to say, Nick, from what I know, Nick Rekieta had started getting a fairly big audience, as far as I know, even before he started supporting Vic. With Comicsgate, he started getting some, and probably from some other ways. I'm not sure what he was at when he started supporting Vic or whatever. I don't know his analytics in that way. I never.
Well, because
I never really followed him. I think I think I became a subscriber of his channel and never really watched him just because, it wasn't really my thing, the lawyer stuff. I get it. Sometimes it can be interesting, but, there's so many channels out there to watch.
Yeah. And I was the same way. I didn't even know anything, but the only reason I had started watching him was because of the Vic stuff. But he already had his channel for a while, and he was already uploading stuff. He was focused, a lot, and even in the Vic case, he just got deeper into that than other things. But his primary thing was law, Rekieta law, he was the lawyer on the internet who was, he barely talk about cases. And then once things with Vic died down, we went back and focused on other high profile cases like Kyle Rittenhouse and stuff like that. But then, from what I understand, And Nick, as far as I know, was, the Christian guy as well. Just somebody who kind of strayed from the path a bit. He went to church. He sent his kids to like a private Christian school. Through his church. But I don't know, but from what I understand, according to Tug, anyways, when he did some of the investigation on it, I guess it was maybe about a year and a half ago when he kind of started to change. He went from doing streams about some people say that I don't remember which case it was, but one of the cases apparently had, I guess, with all the time and stuff he put in, it, I guess, put so much stress on him that it may have broke him. And, like mentally, emotionally, socially, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So where, he'd start acting in not great. He was always a drinker. Okay. There's plenty of streams you can go on and see him like sipping some whiskey or whatever. Right. He'd make sport of it, just like Flash makes sport of it, but he was generally in control most of the time. But somehow, I don't know if, and then he supposedly went on some kind of vacation, met up with Aaron and April Imhoff, or Imholt or whatever. And I guess things just kind of went downhill. And then when he got back, instead of doing lawyer stuff on his channel, he was now talking about relationship stuff. And a lot of his fan base, he had actually lost a number. A lot of people kind of dropped off because, now I dropped off long before that because I basically stopped watching him. I still was watching him a little bit, just after Vic, but just after Vic's, case and all that. But even I kind of dropped off because again, I wasn't overly interested in the more generalized legal stuff. I was kind of hoping for, if anything, I was even hoping to try to get him and or Ty Beard, who was on some of the historical comic retrospects at times, but that just never happened. Obviously,
Yeah.
Nick's too big of a name there, but yeah, he kind of fell on hard times, in a way, and that's what eventually, because I guess what ended up happening is he allegedly started neglecting his kids, and people at his church took notice of it, and then I think one of his kids, maybe one of his younger kids or whatever, actually went up to, told one of the Sunday school teachers or what have you. And that's what eventually led to them making the report, and then eventually led to them, going to the house. That's essentially what more or less happened.
Yeah.
So now hopefully I got you caught up on a good chunk of that. Let's get back to the interview here. See what more. And again, you're going to notice Vic is a very humble guy as well.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, and you'll see this throughout, he really does not want to talk about this. He knows people want to hear what he has to say about it, but he does not want to talk about it. He's not sitting there wanting to throw Nick under the bus. He doesn't, to him, it's like, okay, yeah, Nick, I like Nick. Nick's a friend, or acquaintance. I hope best for his family, but when it comes to his personal life, I really have nothing to say about it. Not my business. That's his attitude. But anyways, let's get back to this.
Want the best for him and his wife and his kids, and I have not talked to him or seen him in a very long time.
Well, I've texted with him a little. You haven't texted with him a little bit? He's being very open and texting. Him and I had a nice conversation.
No.
You guys hadn't had any?
No.
Wow.
That
makes me kind of sad, Vic, because I know that you're such a nice guy, and I know it probably hurts you seeing somebody you care about going through this. And we want the best for Nick, whether people like Nick or not. Nick's a father. I want him to come out of this stronger, and I think he can. I think
yeah, we can only hope that Nick, like everyone else, learns from mistakes they make as they move.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, part of it too, as I told you, when he was going through kind of that downslide, as it were, with what I was telling you,
Yeah.
some of the people who were at one point pretty close to him, like even Tug and Yellow Flash. Yellow Flash had even checked in on him at the beginning of the year, say, "Hey, you okay, man?" And Nick told him he's fine. And now supposedly Nick told Yellow Flash that he was going to actually try to go like a month cold turkey without drinking. Didn't happen, obviously, but that's what a lot of people are saying, is that they're hoping for the best for Nick and that he can come out of it, he can learn from this and move on, in a more positive manner. But anyways, back to the interview.
Forward, they glean some lessons from mistakes, and they incorporate them into making better choices in the future. I mean, I would want that for me. I would want that for you. I certainly want that for Nick and his wife. And I'm just sorry.
You know Kayla very well?
I've only interacted with her when they came to these events.
Do you think that she would find it weird? And we're going to drop it after this.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it.
I know, this is the last question. Show April.
You heard it right there, right? He doesn't want to talk about it. right from the horse's mouth right there. He doesn't really want to talk about it, but people want to hear it because he's connected to Rekieta. That's how most people see it. But he's just not. But in reality, he's not as close to Nick as everybody thinks he is. That's the thing.
Do you think Kayla cares that he has a girlfriend now, though? He's in a throuple.
No, I don't know about any of that.
Wow. This is his new girlfriend.
I don't know about any of that. My interactions with him were very limited, and like I said,
everybody speaks highly of Nick.
I wish the best. I wish healing.
Mm-hmm.
I pray for healing, and that things will get worked out, and that he and Kayla will come out of this stronger and better than before. And I don't, like I said, I don't know anything about it. I just know I don't know any more than you guys do.
And we'll forget talking about that. But one person we do need to make fun of, a person I actually like, show me on camera. So that was April. We got to make fun of Toe Joe, Aaron Amolte. He was talking negative about you, and that's not okay with me. That's Steel Toe, that guy.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, I think he said that, whatever. I mean, I guess he didn't speak highly of you. And
I think Aaron does a YouTube show called Steel Toe or something like that. But there you see from left to right. So there was a time when the Amoltes were both, friends of the. So from left to right there, you got Aaron, April, their husband. They're at that point husband and wife. And then and Kayla right there, Nick's wife, and then Nick. So from left to right there. And supposedly right now, I think Aaron and April have been going through a divorce, and there has been throughout this process they kind of indicate when they were arrested, they indicated that they were saying at first that April was just visiting, then Kayla said no, she's a living nanny, and then there's been talk that April and Nick are what I would talk about.
Yeah, it's frankly what whatever she is really none of anybody's business.
Right. Exactly. And we're just covering this because one, it's a news item, but two, and even though we've kind of already gone past the two things that I wanted people to see, which were a couple of the statements that Vic said, one in regards to freedom and morality, and the other thing in regards to the idea of just because you're friends or just because somebody does right by you doesn't mean that you don't call them out for bad behavior. So those are the two main things.
And it would seem that with a little bit, I think Mr. Stein here is making more of their friendship or acquaintanceship than what it is, And
well, yeah, like a lot of people, and this,
or he's just trying to find a way to get us, like you said,
his show is on the Blaze. His show is on Glenn Beck's network, the Blaze.
Yeah.
Just
Or,
so you know.
or he's just trying to get a soundbite of some sort,
Well, yeah. Well, he is trying to get a soundbite, and that's why he keeps going back to it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, but I was getting that too. He keeps prodding him, and he gets getting the same answer. They're going in circles because
Vic
Alex is
refuses to
sitting there
play this
trying to
game.
dig something more out, and Vic's not taking the bait. Vic is not taking the bait, and you see a lot of news reporters do that though. You see a lot of news reporters, if you don't give them the answer they want to hear, they'll try coming at it from a different angle. They might ask the question in a different way to try to force you to say something. But Vic, you can tell Vic here is not having it. He is steadfast. He's basically saying the exact same thing anytime and every time Alex tries to bait him. So, it's pretty much. It kind of reminds me, because out here in California we have a PBS station called KLCS, right? And back in the 90s, they had a show that would put on in the evenings, I think 5:30 or 6 o'clock, called Raising Children in Troubled Times. And one of the things they would often talk about was using deflectors. When kids would try to deflect from the topic at hand, like if a parent was chastising them because they were maybe they stayed out too late or they went and did something they weren't supposed to, the kid, well, you don't love me, they try that stuff, and the parent would get caught up, and and they would talk about some deflectors or I don't remember the exact deflectors, but anyways, let's get back to the interview here and see what
I don't
Clearly,
think
because of all the time he spent with me.
exactly right.
I mean,
And I like Aaron. I think Aaron's a good guy.
Obviously, he knows what he's talking about.
But Aaron admits that they were doing all kinds of barbiturates and allegedly doing all kinds of stuff. And I guess I just wanted to give you a chance to just set the record straight because people wanted to hear your side of this.
Well, I think some people want to drag me into things
Of course.
that are none of my business. And
what do you think of that statement, Rick? You think Vic is right there that people want to drag him into something that not any of his business?
Yep, just like what Alex is doing right now. He doesn't, and he's trying not to go in.
Yeah, and you notice how Vic is just so skillfully, masterfully, navigating that. He's not taking the bait. He's not taking the bait, and that's something to marvel at as well. Would you agree?
Yeah.
what happened with what goes on in Nick's private life and in his world and with his wife and family and all of that, I have nothing to do with that. I had no knowledge of any of it, and I had nothing to do with it. So when somebody wants my opinion, I'm like, I have no opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about anything. I like you, or like anybody else, I want the best for him, and I hope.
Which probably is the best stance for anybody to take. Then that way, if people do try to drag you into it, you can just say, well, I have no opinion because I know nothing.
I know only as much as you. Yeah, I can formulate some sort of opinion based on the little bit that I know, but I don't have all the facts. So now my opinion is pathetic. It is null and void because I don't know enough,
Hello, good night. What the hell am I looking at?
Hey, good night, son.
Well, we're going over an interview that Vic did recently with Alex Stein on the Blaze because primarily, it's an interview where they were trying to get a soundbite from him on what happened after Nick Rekieta got arrested. Okay, there were a couple of points. We've already passed the points, so you might want to go back and watch some of what we were talking about earlier. But there are a couple of points that Vic made in the video here that were I thought were actually pretty poignant. So that's why I wanted to go over this. We're just of course just wrapping this up and stuff like that. In bald, high bald Rick
Hi, not. I'd say hi, not bald. Good night spoon, but I don't know. I haven't seen. I think I seen your face once a long time ago, but I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's continue on with.
I hope that God brings he and his wife through this.
Last question. We're not going to talk about any more of this. Netflix is inevitably going to make a documentary about Nick Rekieta for sure. I have a feeling that it's a very salacious.
Actually, what
I
I
don't
do
think
want
so.
to what I do want to do, Rick, since Goodnight Spoon is here, I want to go back to the points from earlier to kind of show him a couple of the points that reason I was having us watch this in the first place, because I want people I want to give him a chance to see. So I'm gonna go back to the very beginning of the video because that was where he made his first poignant point, and then we'll kind of fast forward to the other part, and then we'll come back to this point. So.
Story.
To bring it up, and I said it to you before we came on. I wrote something down because I wanted to remember to bring it up, and I said it to you before we came on.
Yeah, there's one of 2 points that he makes here that I think everybody should really hear. So
we live in a free society, right? A free society.
Keep talking.
Okay, I challenge all of you to take me seriously while he's sticking his head in eating ice cream. Okay, maybe you'll take me more seriously if I eat ice cream.
Yeah,
too.
have a hat. Good. My head hurts, though.
You guys, everyone runs around, I'm free to do this, and it's my right to do this, and I got freedom, I'm free to do this. Well, a free society can never, ever be sustained if people are not personally moral. If an individual doesn't have any foundational sense of right or wrong or morals or his neighbor, fellow people around him. You know, I mean, a perfect example is like gun laws. If all of us in this studio are law-abiding citizens and we're conscientious of our fellow man and we're not hateful, we're not vengeful, you know what I mean? We're not self-absorbed. Why would we be afraid if everyone had a weapon to protect themselves? It's the fact that there are people out there that abuse their freedoms and do all kinds of horrific things under the guise of, well, I got my rights and I'm free to do this, I'm free to do that. Well, you may not be free for very long because I really believe in my heart that a free country cannot continue if there are so many citizens that abuse that freedom.
We didn't talk about this before, but everything you spoke about right there, freedom, guns, I have to get a sound bite, and I know you're going to give a professional answer. Your very good friend has gotten in a lot of trouble, Nick Rekieta. Got arrested with guns.
I don't think he's a very good
and I'm
friend.
on Nick's side in a lot of this. I think Nick's a good guy. Everybody's been wanting your statement on the Nick thing, and we don't have to elaborate. We don't have to spend the whole show on it, but I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts, Vic? Because what you just said, freedom, guns, this is what he's going through. And I know he's your friend. I know. And this is my thing. A lot of people on the internet are like, you should throw Nick under the bus, but a real friend stays with you when you're going through tough times.
Well, but a real friend doesn't condone bad behavior either.
Okay.
Right? Oh, here's all I want.
All right. So the 2 points that he made there in all that I wanted everybody to hear. And the first one was the whole idea of freedom and, morality. The idea that you can't have true freedom without having a strong sense of morality, because it goes back to something I've often said, and that is biblically based, is that in our own human reasoning, we can justify any behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. And the second point he made just right there, and then after that, we'll go back to the point where we were before. But the second point he made right there is that, it's something I've been talking about more recently here on the channel. We've had discussions about this, where, whether you're friends or whether somebody's done right by you, it doesn't mean that you still condone their bad behavior. You can be grateful. As I said recently, you can be grateful and still call somebody out for their bad behavior. You can still be somebody's friend. But Rick, what did you say about it? The idea of you heard the line in that one song about the idea of stabbing somebody in the face.
Oh yeah, by a band that I've listened to for I don't know 15, 20 years. I forget what the song is called, but the band is Super Chick, and the line is "True friends stab you in the face."
Mm-hmm. You can still be their good friend, but you don't. But that doesn't mean you condone their bad behavior. You can still be grateful for somebody who's done you a good deed.
Yeah.
But you still, but you can, and you can still call them out for their bad behavior.
Yeah, to what I take it to mean, and I'm not sure whether I've heard them explain it or not, is a lot of people will go and talk behind your back and say lots of nasty things behind your back about you or about what they think about you or whatever. But a true friend is going to tell you the way that they believe it is with you to your face, whether you like it or not. You might end up risk losing them as a friend just by telling them what you believe is the truth of whatever situation that you might be in or they might be in or whatever. Maybe they don't want to hear it. Sometimes we don't want to hear the truth, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's a typical human reaction there. Anyways, we'll go back to the point where we were before, and then finish up here, and then get ready to move on because we're already at 47 minutes here. And I knew we were going to probably be spending quite a bit of time on this, anyways, because I really wanted people to hear those two things that Vic said, because I thought they were real poignant and real. But freedom is innate and independent of morality. It would be beneficial to society if people use their freedom responsibly, but not inexorably tied to morale. Well, no, but I don't agree. I don't agree with you on there.
I agree in the fact that it's not inordinately tied to morality, but morality will help freedom function better, because if you have freedom without people with any morality, most likely you're just going to get anarchy, complete chaos, because everybody will be doing whatever they want.
It'll be like survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not even survival of the fittest. That even implies something else, because I guess in some ways yes, in some it depends on how you want to describe.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying about the idea of justifying any behavior, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Rick, I hate your haircut. All right. So, anyways, we'll go back to the point in the point of the conversation where
Well, I think some people want to drag me into things that are none of my business. And what happened with what goes on in Nick's private life and in his world and with his wife and family and all of that, I have nothing to do with that. I had no knowledge of any of it, and I had nothing to do with it. So when somebody wants my opinion, I'm like, I have no opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about anything. I like you, like anybody else, I want the best for him, and I hope that God brings he and his wife through this.
Last question. We're not going to talk about any more to this. Netflix is inevitably going to make a documentary about Nick Rekieta for sure. I have a feeling that it's a very salacious story. I know that looks at me crazy, but he's one of the biggest streamers ever. He gets in trouble, so now his court case is going to get streamed by people. I mean, I'm not saying Netflix can do it, but somebody's going to do a big documentary. You're going to be a part of that. If a major production company came up to you and said, Vic, we want to get your statement, not here on the show, would you participate in something like that?
My statement would be what I just stated.
That's all you would
It's a
say.
very short statement.
I know. And Vic is only highly. I just want to say, Vic is only looking highly of Nick. Vic's been very professional. You've never heard you say one negative thing about.
What did I tell you earlier, Rick?
Yeah. Oh, but first of all,
he's doing it. Alex is doing it again. He's trying to come at it from another angle, right?
Yeah.
So let's see.
But I was gonna say, first of all, he's not one of the biggest channels on YouTube, Nick Mercado, last I knew. Yeah, he probably has a few thousand people, maybe in a few 100,000, but I doubt he's got millions of subscribers. I could be wrong. We could probably check that, but then again, it could be down from his stuff. And I doubt people are going to be coming to Vic for anything, because it sounds like they're not the friends, but I wouldn't even say they're good friends, because he knew nothing of what was going on in the guy's life. Yeah, they talk, they're friends. Maybe they're more of acquaintances, it sounds,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's getting together with him, or whatever. Maybe
but
he has.
The general perception is that they're closer than people. They're closer than people think. They're closer than they actually are. And Goodnight Spoon here is saying it's like the prisoner dilemma. The suspect's greatest benefit is to stick together, but if one turns in the rest, he goes free, and the rest suffer worse. If all confess, all suffer equally. I don't know what that's pertaining to. If you're talking about
probably something towards freedom. I think I sort of get what he's saying. I'm not 100% sure if I get it completely, but I think I sort of get it.
But I don't think the prisoner dilemma is relevant here. I think that's a kind of an odd, comparison there. Not outrageous or outlandish, but still not. I don't think that quite fits in what Vic had originally said there.
About him.
My interactions with him have always been good, but to be honest, they ended quite a while back. And occasionally there might be a quick text, but recently, not at all.
Well, Nick, me and Vic are rooting for you. We want you to get the help that you need, or whatever you need. And I'm sure Vic.
You know what? I'm going to say a prayer. Let's say
pray.
Prayer.
Let's say a prayer.
I'm going to. You know what?
Show the Vic.
I'm going to say a prayer for Nick and his wife and Joe Biden.
Okay, and Joe Biden. Yes, that's good.
Right? Don't mock.
I'm not. I'm praying. How am I mocking?
You don't.
How am I mocking? I'm praying.
Am I doing that? Look. Am I doing that?
I pray different. I'm Pentecostal. I'm Pentecostal.
Anybody buying any?
No, we have a snake at my church that if you get bit by the snake,
I've heard about that. Okay,
you go to heaven.
Okay. Well, I'm serious. I'm going to take this seriously.
I'm serious too.
All right. Heavenly Father, I just want to bring our president before you. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to agree on policies and positions on things, but we certainly don't wish ill or harm. So I pray that if he is ill, especially if he's seriously ill, I pray that you would heal him, pray that you would protect him, and bring him back to full health. And then I also pray for Nick and Kayla and their family. Whatever is going on with them, you know better than we do. There's no reason for us to put a bunch of words to it, because you know everything that's going on. So I just want to pray that you will guide Nick and Kayla, bring them through this difficult time. I'm sure it must be incredibly stressful. And I just pray that you would you'd be close to them and bring them through it. In Jesus' name, amen. See, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm speaking in tongues. This is part of my Pentecostal church. We speak in tongues. Why is my culture wrong? Why can't we speak in tongues sometimes?
Did you hear me say wrong?
Okay,
Did I
good.
ever say any culture was wrong? I never said
No.
that.
Sila ka na tida malalasa.
When you make that face, though.
Sila tilala. Sala kalala nikwikena. Sala kalala.
Okay, you can probably pause it now. I think it's probably
Amen.
mainly
Do you take
over.
anything seriously?
I do.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but I think basically the parts that I felt were the most poignant and the most necessary were well past that. But Alex Stein's a bit of a goof there. He's a bit of a goofball, you know.
Yeah.
To say the least, you know.
For sure.
But I haven't really watched a whole lot of his stuff, but basically, he's a bit of a goofball. So, anyway, it looks like Goodnight Spoon had a couple more things to say here. So let's see. All right, now we already read that part. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot why I said it myself, but it was in response to whatever you were saying. Be right back in a okay, rerun. All right, so basically the two big takeaways in that I hope everybody can take away from that is that for true freedom for people to have true freedom, you do have to have a strong moral center. It's a good idea to have a strong moral center. Just simply because as I said, in our own human reasoning, we can justify any behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. The problem with absolute freedom sometimes is that we would end up with anarchy because everybody would just say, I have the right to do this, I have the right to do that, screw your rights, screw your rights. I have a right. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it, and then also, again, as we've pointed out several times here, you can still be somebody's friend. You can still be a good friend to somebody. You can still be grateful if somebody does you right, and still call them out for bad behavior. You don't condone bad behavior just because somebody's done you right. So, let's see. So those are the two main takeaways from all this. It was in response to freedom and morality, and how freedom without morality would be anarchy, but still free. Yet they lose connection, but it's there even as prisoners. They have freedom to chaos. Yes, and even in a prison though, when prisoners abuse their freedoms, they usually end up in solitaire a lot of times. No, they have the freedom to make sheds and attack each other, but when they start doing that, then the guards beat them down and usually drag them off to solitaire.
Well, it depends if they get caught too. There is a lot of stuff, and there's other ways that they would not get taken into politics. There's a lot of stuff. There is, prison politics, if you will, too. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. I get where Goodnight Spoon's coming from.
Yeah. But anyways, so that was pretty much the main thing. Main things I wanted to talk about tonight. So now what we'll do here is we'll move on to the Russian wrap up real quick. So let's see. So first off, we're going to go back to Thursday on last Thursday's Impact. All right, we'll go over that real quick. On last Thursday's TNA Impact, grab that. Yeah. So on last Thursday's Impact, you had the Rascals, all three of Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and Wes Lee, Wesley coming over from the NXT on the Impact, reuniting with his two Rascal teammates, defeating Kushida and Speedball Mountain of X Division champ Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, and what Mike Bailey is calling basically the idea of bringing the X Division back to its roots, where it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Very active match here, very athletic match. Rosemary defeats Kristara. Frankie Kazarian defeats Ryan Nemeth. After the match, Joshua Alexander came out to make a statement to recently newly crowned TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth, who is Ryan's brother, of course, by delivering what is known to most fans as a Tiger Driver 91 double underhook pile driver. Basically, Josh Alexander calls his version the C4 Spike. To Ryan Nemeth after the match was done. In a continuation of their feud over the Knockouts tag team titles, Jody Threat defeats Masha Slamovich, as their respective partners were in their corners. Danny Luna for Jody Threat and Alicia Edwards for Masha Slamovich. As, of course, Masha and Alicia are currently the current Knockout tag team champions. Mike Santana, in a statement match, defeated Campaign Singh in just under 2 minutes, and then delivered a promo calling out Moose for putting out a hit on him to keep him from getting involved in the 6-way elimination match at Slammiversary. Nick Nemeth, in his first world title defense since winning title at Slammiversary in that 6-way elimination match, defeated former X Division champion Mustafa Ali. Now, these two, of course, have had history before. They faced each other before when they were both in WWE together. Some of you may remember that Nick Nemeth in the WWE was known as Dolph Ziggler. So,
and as to your question, Goodnight Spoon, why Metal has no stream today, I'm not completely sure. I know there's some things going on behind the scenes for him. I'm not sure whether he shared on his stream. I don't think he did, because he was saying he was trying to keep it quiet for now. When I was
he
sort of asked some.
Okay, Metal messaged me earlier today, explaining to me why he wasn't here last night. Said he was actually en route. He was en route because if you noticed last week, he was house sitting for somebody. So he was en route. And then, but the thing is that the dogs that were there that he was housing for basically kept him awake at night. And when he got home, he just crashed. He crashed for 10 hours. And when he woke up, he still wasn't fully rested. So that may be why he didn't do a show tonight. He may have still been kind of trying to recover from that, from all that. Let's see. As far as honesty and friendship goes, Rick, would you have listened if I told you more firmly not to pursue that woman?
When earlier, before I gave you all the information, or after? And hello, Neo Gaming.
Hey, Neo Phantom Gamer. Neo Phantom Gamer, you may want to go back and watch the show over again when we're done here. We're almost done now. Because I was going over a interview Vic did recently. Vic Mignogna did on Stein about the Nick Rekieta arrest and stuff like that. There were a couple of points that he made in that I thought everybody should hear. So you might want to go back and watch the show again if you have time.
He says day one from probably not, because I did really like her, and before there was red flags, there wasn't much to say not to.
Yeah. So anyways, so now we're gonna from TNA. Now we're gonna move on to AEW. Saturday Night's Collision. and go over the results of that, and then we'll go over the WWE news. That WWE, of course, had SummerSlam on Saturday, and then tonight they're going to be doing. It's going to be the follow-up Raw from SummerSlam. But first off, we're going to go back to Saturday night to AEW. Look at what happened on AEW Collision. As on that, Hologram and Mystico teamed together to defeat the Premier Athletes duo of Arya Davari and Tony Nese, with Mark Sterling in their corner. In a non-title match, AEW World Women's Champion Tony Storm defeated Ray Chanel in just under a minute. Just over 6 minutes, Kyle Fletcher defeated Brian Cage. Then cut a promo after the match, challenging MJF to a match on Wednesday for the what they are now calling the American title, which was at one time called the International title, and kind of a follow up to MJF jumping Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher's best friend, after his match against Lance Archer on last Wednesday's Dynamite. MJF, in response, met him halfway. We'll make this an eliminator match. Now, for those of you who don't know, in AEW, an eliminator match is basically when a challenger challenges a champion for the right to challenge for the title. So, basically, if they win the match, then they get a shot. If not, then they're eliminated from competition for the title for the foreseeable future. In a number one contendership three-way match, Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club defeated Lee Moriarty and Tomohiro Ishii in a match in which he will get the next shot at Kazuchika Okada and the AEW Continental Championship. Thunder Rosa defeated Taya Valkyrie in a match that led to a set and after the match, Thunder Rosa called out her recent rival Deonna Purrazzo and challenged her to a Texas bull rope match on what would be this week's technically Collision. For those of you who don't know what a Texas bull rope match is, as with most restraint type matches, whether it's a bull rope match, chain match, what have you, usually in the more traditional case, the match is you have two wrestlers tied together with a bull rope, with, of course, a cowbell in the middle of it. And you can use the rope as a weapon in whatever way you want. The idea is to incapacitate your opponent enough to drag them around the ring and consecutively touch all four corners to win the match. That's what traditionally, I don't know if they'll go with that or if they'll just go with more like a standard match in which they can use the ropes and you have to get a pinfall or submission for the victory. And then in the main event of the evening, in an 8-man tag team match, Darby Allin, FTR of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and Mark Briscoe defeated the Beast Mortos and the Undisputed Kingdom members of Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven. So that was all that on guess there were a couple more okay, yeah, we already saw that. I saw Kino Casino cover that. All right. There were red flags on day one. To be fair, your chat misled you for whatever reason.
Okay, I'm not okay. I'd say, well, we'll talk about that more tomorrow night. You can tell me tomorrow night what you think were red flags.
It might be better because he just now said that your chat misled you. So
yeah, he's talking about my chat on my channel.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about, Rick. I know he's talking about your chat from your channel. That's why I was saying that, because if he's saying that your chat, on your channel was misleading you, then if he feels that he can correct their thought process, then that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
So, Neo Phantom Game. The point from the interviews that I focused on, that I wanted people to hear, were a couple of points that Vic made. One was the idea that you can't have true freedom without having a strong moral compass. That was what he said in the very first part of the video that we covered. And then he also talked about the idea that, yes, you can be good friends, but that doesn't mean that you have to condone their bad behavior. So those are the 2 points that I wanted people to really hear in that. So I don't know if Kino covered both of those or just part of that, because there's a couple, but hopefully. But anyways, let me finish off the wrestling wrap-up, then we'll get to this day in each history, and then we will. So that was all that happened in AEW on Saturday. So now we're going to go back and talk a little bit about what happened at SummerSlam, as there were a number of title changes that happened at SummerSlam on Saturday. Let's find it here. Yeah, SummerSlam Cleveland. So in the opening match, Liv Morgan retained the WWE Women's World title, in which Dominic Mysterio did eventually betray Rhea Ripley in the match. With Liv getting and then Dom going off with her and basically solidifying Rhea's role now as a babyface. Braun Breaker defeated Sami Zayn for the WWE Intercontinental title, having pushed Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker, of course, is the son of Rick Steiner, second generation star. They're pushing hard as a star of the future. So now they got him started on that path by having him win the IC title from Sami Zayn. LA Knight defeated Logan Paul for the United States title. Nia Jax defeated Bayley for the WWE Women's title. In the one non-title match, Drew McIntyre defeated CM Punk with Seth Rollins as special guest referee. Gunther defeated Damian Priest by a referee's decision to become the new WWE World Heavyweight title holder, World Heavyweight Champion. Gunther getting some help from Finn Balor, who had initially promised Damian Priest that he was still on his side, but because of his actions would lead to. Now, Priest had been basically going babyface for a while, but now it looks like on the official roster they've made him babyface. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Judgment Day faction pans out, as it would seem that they've broken Ripley and Priest off from the other members of Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Carlito and Liv. So we'll see how that all goes. And in the main event of the night, in a Bloodline Rules match, Cody Rhodes retained over Solo Sikoa. So yeah, you had 2 retentions, with Cody Rhodes retaining the WWE title and WWE Universal title, and Liv Morgan retaining the WWE Women's World title. And it saw the return of Roman Reigns now as a face, now trying to, under the guise of being the original tribal chief, coming in to lay the smackdown, as it were, on Solo Sikoa. So that of course all happened on Saturday. Now, in the follow-up on tonight's Monday Night Raw, I believe that's going to be on Sci-Fi tonight. Tonight's Monday Night Raw is going to be coming to it in the CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. It will be on Sci-Fi. Thus far signed, Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, will be taking on the Wyatt Six members, SICKS, of let's see, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Eric Rowan. And in a singles match, Dakota Kai, with her damage control teammates in her corner of Io Sky and Kairi Sane, Sonya Deville, who will have Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in her corner. So that's all we got for you guys in terms of the wrestling wrap-up. And it would appear, let me see, there's something that...
And actually, it does make sense to talk about it for two reasons. Good night, Spoon. A, gives us something to talk about for 5 minutes or so. And two, I'd just like to know what you think were red flags before on day one.
Yeah. What's your favorite
hello, Elvis.
anime? I can't think of one off the top of my head from 2007 at the moment. Because I'm wrapping up here. Elfist. Let's see. Is Claymore a good series, or is it too similar to the? No, I think it's a fine series. I don't think it's too similar to it. I mean, yeah, they are similar, but there's still enough differences there to distinguish them. But anyway, so now with all that being said, of course, today is Monday, August the 5th, 2024. So why don't we go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So 14 and 2014. All right, so first off, I'm going to head back 15 years ago today. And before we do that, apparently there's another... what is that series about, Mike? What, Claymore? I know it's been a while since I actually watched it. It has something to do with women female sword fighters. That much I know. It's been a while since I actually watched it, so I don't really have it off the top of my head. That's one of the series that I've only watched once, so it's not like I have a whole lot I can say about it, because I've only watched it once. So, anyways, so let's get going. First off, and back 15 years ago to 2009. On this date in 2009, the fifth and final issue of Destroyer from Marvel's Max imprint went on sale on this date back in 2009. It sold for $3.99 with 32 pages. The Destroyer Chapter 5, written by Robert Kirkman, with art by Control J. Walker. Brucey Wooten did the lettering, and then Val Staples did the coloring. So that happened on anyways. And Rick, it looks like Goodnight Spoon has another thing to say to you there.
Let's see. Rick, I will piss off everyone here associated with even more than I already do. Just joking around. The Canva dude does not have your best interests. Tim already blocked me for making him feel like thing. Yeah.
Well, why would anybody think Tim's that? I don't get it. Why would he even be suggesting that?
Tim said when we were talking about girlfriends and all that, and I mentioned the girl that I was liking was 27. You know, Goodnight Spoon said that's too young, and Tim's going out with somebody who's 25. And, well,
Basically, he's trying to claim you guys are the P word because you guys are happening to be dating legal 20-year, legal adults who are 20 who just happen to be a significant amount of age difference between you.
Now, let's be fair. Goodnight Spoon never once called us that, and I don't think he even thought that towards us. He just thinks it's too young that somebody 40 or 50 should not be going out with somebody that young, and that's his right to think that, believe that, however you want. You know.
I mean, I kind of get that, but to insinuate that if somebody did find happiness dating somebody that much younger than them, to make this, even if he didn't intentionally or outright, if he's like sitting here suggesting that he made Tim feel like he was a P word.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little over the top.
Yeah, well, I think Goodnight Spoon is, I'm not sure how shall I say it. I don't think Tim never said he felt that way. That at least as far as I know, Tim never said in the chat that Goodnight Spoon was making him feel that way. It's just how Goodnight Spoon wanted to phrase it in this statement.
Yeah, and in Tim's defense a little bit here, because he's told me about his girlfriend too. I mean, he seems like happy with her. I don't where anybody's got the right to condemn them for that. I mean, she is of legal age. And they're both consenting adults. So
and Goodnight Spoon is in a couple statements down here is saying I never made any such statement saying that he was a pedo, a P word. It's not my personal preference. Tim just self-snitched.
Yeah.
I didn't even make the allusions to it. Tim literally did it to himself because I don't like women that young.
Yeah. Well, you're right. We don't usually try to do that. We just kind of got caught up in the moment here. I am just trying to finish up and get the show closed out here. But we kind of got caught up in it. And it's probably something that, again, is better since there's more stuff that's going on with Rick's channel and his community. It's probably best to. Yeah. But, of course, Goodnight Spoon is also wise if you aren't really interested in trying to bring stuff like that up, you should probably watch just how you say things, because using certain terms. Well, we know that if you use a P word, that's a pretty provocative term.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he didn't use it on that thing on my channel. He just used it here, referring to it, just making it sound worse than what it was. Yeah. Although Tim did block him over this stuff. They had a falling out, shall we say.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to comment or say anything more about it because I don't know. I don't know all the details. I'm going to do what Nick did. I'm just going to stay out of it. But anyways, getting back to.
Yeah, like I said, we can have the discussion more in my chat tomorrow night. Gives us something to talk about.
Let me see here.
Makes it interesting.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. All right. So 10 years ago today, on this date, 10 years ago today, Big Idea Productions' VeggieTales Celery Night Fever premiered on this date 10 years ago today. this was released. Well, okay, it was, I guess, a movie. But on this date, 10 years ago today, Big Idea Productions direct-to-video movie VeggieTale Celery Night Fever was released on this date 10 years ago.
I did start calling him Gay Tom. Yeah, there's all that. Well, the Tom was because of me calling him Tim or Tom instead of Tim the once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyways, moving on. And 2014 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As also on this date in 2014, 10 years ago today, FanWorks Meta Mayaki no Kimi Itsu Subusu was I guess was released in movie theaters on this date 10 years ago as well. I believe that was a movie. Was that a movie or was that a? Let me just double check here. So we can get up. Oh, the television. So the TV series from FanWorks. FanWorks. I'll get back down there. 10 years ago today, of Meta Mayaki no Kimi Itsu Shibusu premiered on Japanese television on this date 10 years ago. And finally, on this date in 2019, 5 years ago today, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event. From the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I believe this was the Go Home Raw before SummerSlam that year. The main event saw Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeat the Iconics, the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane. The Iconics of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a fatal four-way tag team elimination match, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Six-man tag, AJ Styles teamed with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, of course the Bullet Club, defeating the New Day of Big E and Xavier Woods and Ricochet. Mike Canales defeated Maria Canales for the 24/7 championship, and then R-Truth turned around and defeated Mike Canales for that title a little while later. So, and this is all leading up into, of course, like I said, this is the Go Home Raw before that year, and the night opened up with Becky Lynch teaming with Charlotte Flair to take on Natalya and Trish Stratus. There we go with that. And I thank everybody for being here tonight. So, of course, let's see. I just remember the other guy's name sketch.
Yeah. My sketch.
All right. So with all that now, before we head out, Rick, would you like to do an outro before we head out?
Well, as I did earlier, I will just put a link in the chat for my channel. For those here that are not subscribed, go over, check out my channel. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. We've been going down in the count of subscribers lately. We need to build that back up because I'm 170 subscribers from 1,000. And of course, I am quite a few number of hours away from that mark of 3,000 or 4,000 hours. And you don't have to explain your haircut. on air either. I have a solid idea. And you don't need to announce it to the world. Yeah, well, everybody's just gonna want to know anyways on my chat. They're like, yeah, it's just gonna be a surprise for a bunch of people. It's not gonna be a surprise for you because you found out here, but for everybody in my chat that hasn't found out yet, it's gonna be a surprise.
All right. So, anything more you'd like to add, Rick, before we wrap up?
No, nothing I can think of. Just go check out my channel and subscribe and watch. Get my view count up. My watch hours. Get me monetized.
All right. So, with all that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. We had quite a lively discussion at times. I hope everybody did glean from what we saw on that interview between Alex Stein and Vic Mignogna about the Nick Recato situation. Hope everybody took some of it for some food for thought. And we'll be back here tomorrow night with more niche news, of course. And of course, this Friday, Apex Comics will be joining me as we will be we'll be continuing our look at March of 1940, books that came out in March of 1940, the comics. This week we'll be focusing in on Fawcett Comics. We're reading from, Wiz Comics, I believe, Volume 1, Issue 4, I believe, and Master Comics, Volume 1, Issue 2, and Slam Bang Comics, Volume 1, Issue 2. We'll be introducing the world to, I think, the older of Dr. Savannah's daughters, Beautia Savannah. I might want to come check that out. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Because it's only a day away.